The only real God is the one that you believe in. Start looking for the God in others. And if you find you're tuning into a wave, well then I don't know much about being saved.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, friends.
Welcome in, friends, hippie friends, all friends.
Non-hippie friends, all friends.
Yeah, whatever. Cool. Welcome to another episode of Spiritual Philosophy Chatter with the Joneses. I'm Danny Jones.
And I am Samantha Jones.
And this is episode 57.
57.
What is the title?
This is If You're Hippie and You Know It.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we are.
I am. Show.
Yeah. But I got this idea a few months back, and then the virus hit, and so it kind of got put on the back burner, just as like a fun type of episode to kind of talk about, you know, where that term came from and where it is now, and, you know,
right.
Give
Cool.
people an idea.
I think it's fun.
I think it'll be good. Yeah, it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Awesome. Well, before we hop into the fun one, do you have anything from last week?
I do. I wanted to, first of all, let's see. So last week we did Universal Consciousness, and this was the episode that I have had the most responses to, where people are like, whoa, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
And I kind of said that at the beginning, that I was so excited about it because it was not new information to me, but the new way that I learned it and that it was put together. It was almost like another boom in my spiritual awakening.
Right.
It really has changed a lot about the way I look at things, and I really enjoyed that episode, and a lot of our listeners did too. So this is from Lori. Well, first of all, so Lori's a friend of mine I've known for a long time, and we were talking about the CE5, the alien stuff. And so she sent me this video, and it was a video of Dr. Greer and a couple of other guys in there talking about the universal consciousness, basically, and plugging into it. So she sent that to me, and then she said, love, love, love the podcast, by the way. I was having a hard time this past week, and a friend in San Diego out of the blue sent me that video, and I watched it twice in a row, and it brought me back into perspective and helped me even out of my mood. Since then, I've stopped watching the news and started feeding my mind with the positive stuff I know will balance and connect me. I've been off keel for a while. Love hearing a familiar voice on your podcast about all the subjects that are dear to my heart. I love that you have a hubby that is on the same page as you and has so much wisdom to offer. You guys converse, and it just flows.
Nice.
Yeah,
Thank you,
Lori.
That's really sweet.
It's cool for me with people like this because I have known Lori since I was like, I don't know, 18 or 19.
Wow.
She was into ferrets, and I ran a ferret club, and then I helped get her a job at PetSmart. In the veterinary hospital, and she's the one that I talk about when I say that a friend of mine had said I wasn't going to make it in pet sitting, that she felt sorry for me. That's Lori.
Okay.
And Lori started her own pet sitting business. So we have been through so much together. So to now be on kind of a spiritual journey at the same time like this is really cool.
Yeah.
It's neat to watch how life kind of evolves like this and brings the same players into your life. It's very strange. Mm-hmm. It's cool though.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Lori.
Thanks,
that was really
Lori.
Nice.
Also, Sherry had said something. Let me bring that back up. Sherry is one of our devoted listeners as well.
Yeah.
She said, this was so good. I really thought I had a good understanding of universal consciousness, but after listening to this and then watching Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, I realized that there is so much more going on than I ever imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
It's like real magic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're kind of being withheld from it because we had it before and abused it.
Yeah.
And so we're ready to not bow, but to look at these beings as, how do I say that? I mean, like friends.
Right.
You know, like
exactly.
I guess, hello, friends.
Exactly.
I mean, when we can begin to look at them like that, we will benefit from it.
Exactly. Yep. It's the same thing with spirits.
Exactly.
It really is. It's the same thing. Stop fearing them, and then they'll help you more, and you can understand more of
and
what's
they're
going
all
on.
connected. It's all good.
all
There's
connected.
nothing bad about it,
Yeah, it is amazing. It is.
I wish
all
we could just get
connected.
through all this baloney and get to the magical part and start really learning how to better our world.
Me too.
And our society, really.
Me too. Absolutely. And that's a little bit about what that video that Lori sent was about, is it just takes 1% of us to, I can't remember how they explained it, but it was like a helium explosion, almost how it only affected 10% or 1%, something like that. But everything else eventually became affected because it sends a ripple effect. So if 1% of us could have this connection and this enlightenment, we could bring major change.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yep. So,
Cool.
And
Thanks, Sherry.
Yeah, thank you, Sherry and Lori. I have one more thing.
Okay.
So our listeners have been following along on our journey.
Okay.
And they have watched how I have said that I want to get out of pet sitting for so long and how I knew it was going to happen.
Yep.
And so I wanted to announce to our listeners that I have officially retired from pet sitting.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Superb.
I really just want people to see this because I think that it shows you that anything is possible.
Yeah.
That if you put your mind to it and you work hard enough, you can do anything that you want to do. But you also have to change your perspective.
Yeah.
Because I look at money a lot different than I used to. And if I looked at it as he with the most money wins, I would try and do it all at once.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking at it like that anymore. I'm looking at it as I want to work from home. I want to be a stay-at-home dog mom, and I am now. For how long have I said that?
You manifested it.
I did. I manifested it, and it just shows that it can be done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great example.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah. It's been...
And congratulations again. I think I know, like you've really wanted it. I know you've wanted it because I'm around you all the time, and
it wasn't easy, though, you know.
Achieve that.
Yeah.
You know.
Emotionally, it wasn't easy for me. I'm like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Why are you
you're
doing
very
this?
connected to the animals.
Yeah, very. And, you always think like, well, I'm giving up a big source of income here, but I can't focus on my other work if I have to worry about a full-time job in pet sitting.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
I have focused, a lot more now that's gone, and I can focus fully on this. Because
you worried a lot about the animals too, so.
Yeah, there's a lot of worries that come with pet sitting that it's... If as my husband, you see, but for everybody else, it's really hard to understand because it's not just like that, having that responsibility. But I was very lucky that I never really missed any visits, but there have been horror stories from other pet sitters that have not written things down. So I was obsessive with making sure that I knew that where I had to be at all times. And that gets really tiring, emotionally very tiring. So I'm much happier now.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Cool.
So there's the happy end to that story, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Well, are we ready for episode 57 then?
I think so.
Okay. If you're hippie and you know it.
Yeah. This was a fun episode to put together for a few reasons because, I'm in my 40s, and so I wasn't alive during the time of the original hippie boom, basically, which was the late 60s. I don't know much about that generation or that era. I just know that I've always been very, very attracted to it. But there are people, obviously, that don't look at hippies in a respectful kind of way. Right. And so it was interesting to do research on this and look at definitions of what different, dictionaries or like urban dictionaries, what they call a hippie.
Yeah.
So I want to start with some of that.
Cool.
Okay, what is a hippie? A person of unconventional appearance. This is from a dictionary, by the way. Unconventional appearance, typically having long hair associated with a subculture involving a rejection of conventional values and the taking of hallucinogenic drugs.
Okay.
That's in a dictionary. Right.
So you can't be a hippie if you don't do hallucinogenic drugs? I don't get it. Okay.
Or have long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. That's a 1960s kind of definition of it that we're talking about. Yeah. We're not necessarily talking about now, but I still don't think that you can categorize all hippies as psychedelic taking, long-haired freaks.
I was kind of thinking more of like the mindset.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. A youth movement in the U.S. during the mid-1960s, and it spread to other countries around the world. hippies created their own communities, listened to psychedelic music, embraced the sexual revolution, and many used drugs like weed and LSD to explore altered states of consciousness. Okay.
All right.
When I was taking these notes, something got me here. The use of LSD to experience the altered states of consciousness, I've never done any of those types of drugs.
Right.
So I don't know what it's like, except the one time my mom slipped me something that could have been something.
Oh, no.
I don't know.
Linda,
Posters
honey.
started coming at me and stuff, so who knows what that was.
Boy.
Anyways, I think that the reason why these kind of drugs work for people is it opens a part of your mind that isn't working normally.
Right.
It's there, but you haven't opened it because you can't let your guard down enough to see it.
Right.
So these drugs not only put you in a state where you can let your guard down, but they also open up a part of your brain that isn't open.
Right.
So doing these drugs does kind of, I guess, give you an advantage because maybe it gives you like that connection to the other side or that feeling. I'm sure that there's a lot of people that have had spiritual awakenings after doing hallucinogenics.
Yeah. You read in articles about particular musicians and particular albums in their careers, and that some of their most successful records were during a period when they were partaking in that.
Right.
So is that to glorify it, condone it? It's a personal choice. I'm not here to judge anybody for what they're doing. You know, if you're not causing anybody any harm,
right,
then that's your life as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
But yes, very much LSD, I haven't done it for many years, but was a very mind-opening and a connecting drug.
I can imagine it. And I've thought about it, especially with my abilities. I have thought like, well, I could just try mushrooms once in my life, but I'm so paranoid, and now even more so because I'm like, what else will I find out? Because I keep finding out more and more, and I'm afraid that I'll be like, now what? So I just won't.
Yeah, we don't need woo like an ambulance coming up.
I don't like to hallucinate, so we'll just not at all. It's fine. But I thought that was interesting.
You see enough dead people.
Yeah, that's for sure. But you don't have to. You don't have to take drugs to experience that either. You know, you can have that connection from a deep meditation, or I think with drugs like that, it's quick, and so you can go into it and you come out of it quick.
Right.
Where with a spiritual awakening, it takes time.
Right.
But the cool thing about a spiritual awakening that most you don't really read about much is it comes in stages and it never stops.
Yeah.
So you're still getting those, like, I want to say they're like epiphanies. So it could be like having that kind of
and I think that's part of what's happening, because you are opening that part of your mind to maybe accept certain ideas.
Yeah.
I'll say for me, when I did it, LSD in particular, it was this sense of I just understood.
Right.
For the first time, I did feel connected to the universe.
Yeah.
I felt like everything was connected. And how you put those thoughts and feelings into words, that's the simplest way I could. Since I've experienced this in our life, I've reached moments where I've had some of those similar feelings, you know, without doing the drug itself. So that's kind of neat, because I realize, oh, that's what I was opening with that drug. Now I'm tapping in on like how to do that without it.
That's right.
You know?
Yep.
I mean, weed's a whole different story. I feel like for me, I'm a total advocate of it. So I think that it's a totally different drug than LSD, way mild compared to that.
Yeah.
So it's not quite, but it can put you in to a nice, relaxing, meditative state where you can do that.
You start questioning more. You start like thinking deeper on different levels that you never thought before, and that can absolutely open up things too. Yeah. So you don't have to do hallucinogenics.
No.
Feel that way.
No. I couldn't do it. I don't think at this age now. No.
Yeah. I just think I'll pass. So going on more with the history of hippies, Although now we can see why those things go with hippies, because they're mostly calm, peaceful, type loving people. So you open up your mind, you expand your consciousness. It's associated. So
Yeah.
Okay. In 1967, the Human Being Festival. Have you heard about this before?
I have the poster on the ceiling over there.
Oh, I haven't noticed.
Yeah.
So it's human bee/in. So like, I'm assuming
Human
that's
being.
Human being, yeah. Festival. It took place in San Francisco. It was the prelude to the Summer of Love, which also took place in San Francisco, which made Haight-Ashbury district a symbol of American counterculture, meaning that the hippie zone.
Yeah. Every time we go to San Francisco, we pretty much go there.
Yeah. We have listeners all over the world, people that have never been to San Francisco, and I can tell you that Haight-Ashbury, you definitely get that feeling. You will see what's considered to be old school hippies with the VW buses, hanging out the side, smoking their weed with their dreadlocks.
Right.
You will see that.
Right.
And then you'll see people like us that love that hippie culture.
Yeah.
And
it's not quite as beautiful, I'm
No.
sure, as it was in this, Summer of Love. It's a little bit more like, kind of a run-down area.
Yeah.
But, during the day, it's totally fine, and it has that vibe, the stores, and it. I so wish kind of that I was around in that era.
Yeah.
To have been able to express myself a lot sooner, maybe,
Yeah.
because that was like young people that were
Yes.
the forefront of that.
Yes.
So.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was cool, like Haight-Ashbury, Jimi Hendrix home is on there.
The Red House.
Yeah, the Red House. We didn't see it, but the Grateful Dead, their house was there. I can't remember if it was on one of those streets, but it was right around there.
It's
We
on
didn't
Haight
see it.
Street.
Is it on Haight Street? Yeah. We didn't see that one, but yeah, it really, you get that sense from it down there.
Yeah.
And then there was also Woodstock on the East Coast in 1969. So all of these things are kind of what sparked the original, like, hippie craze. So I asked our listeners what they felt made somebody a hippie. Because I was curious,
Yeah, I was, like I said earlier, I was thinking more of, like, not a physical definition or even an interest, kind of, but meaning, like, if they did psychedelic drugs.
Yeah.
But I was thinking more of a mindset.
Me too.
What makes a hippie in their mindset?
Me too. And I think that's where my thought process was a lot different, like you, as to the research that I found. Because something else I had put was hippie fashion and values had a major effect on culture, influencing popular music, television, film, literature, and the arts. So this person that they make a hippie out to be, like what you're saying, this physical is what you get, but you're not seeing the emotional side of it and what actually makes a hippie really a hippie, in my definition.
Cool.
So some of the things that people said, the most votes got peaceful and nonviolent, and then loves the earth, gypsy qualities, and we'll get into that a little bit more.
I was almost going to say that earlier, like the hippie coming in, or the quote-unquote idea of the hippie coming into the late 60s or mid-60s was almost like a reinvention, a modern reinvention of the gypsy.
Yes.
Sort of.
Yeah, it has its differences, but I'll get into that a little bit later, because I was curious to know that, because you hear that all the time, like, I have a gypsy soul. Well, what does that mean exactly?
And a lot of songs had that word in it around, like, the 60s and 70s. They used gypsy in a lot of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So some of the other things people said, free spirit, free thinker, minimalist, liberal feelings and actions, smokes marijuana, vegan or vegetarian, all
Not
of the
me.
above. Yeah. And then one person said, well, I guess I'm a hippie because I smoke marijuana. And then your cousin Hope said, where's the likes to embroider peace signs and flowers on their denim jackets and jeans options? Because that's my mom.
Hope said that?
Yeah.
Oh, her mom, totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Kat.
Yeah, but see, these are all, like you said, they're all the physical things.
Right.
Like, really what, inside makes a person a hippie. So here's another interesting one. because I mentioned earlier that I like to get stuff from Urban Dictionary because that's where the kind of funny definitions are, and the people can write these definitions themselves, and then people vote on like what the most useful one is or whatever.
Right.
So this one said, okay, according to Urban Dictionary, hippies are long-haired people that use essential oils instead of deodorant, colorful clothing, especially tie-dye, and they love life and their freedom. Also known as flower children, free spirits, indigo children, bohemians. It
Right.
fits, but still, it's not getting down to the core.
It's more of what I hear a lot of actions and things and physical, but what, what makes a hippie want to be a hippie?
Right. Exactly. Why? I don't know. You can't just categorize somebody from the way that they dress, the way they look, because I think if somebody just saw me walking around, they probably wouldn't think for a second that I'm a hippie, but I fit the criteria, if you want to call it that.
Right.
So
I don't think that I do. I mean, I don't wear tie-dye. I don't use essential oils as deodorant.
Well, I tried,
Couldn't
but
grow
I
my hair
can't
long,
allergic to it.
unfortunately. So,
But if you could, you would. You
Yeah,
have
I
the
would.
long beard, so I think you fit physically probably into that more than I do. That's my thought on it. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
right.
So then I started thinking about, okay, well, this definition is like 1960s definition. So what about modern day hippies like us? People that weren't around for these things. What are those type of people into? And I enjoyed that better.
Okay.
I think that that was a better definition. But again, Urban Dictionary with their funny
Nobody's
definitions.
mentioned Birkenstocks in any of these.
No,
I don't have Birkenstocks.
I used to, but yeah, I can't find ones that fit right. But yeah, I would. So, but I didn't see it in anything. No. Mm-mm. So, Urban Dictionary, when I looked up modern day hippie, this was a good one. A person that does what they want, wears what they want, and says how they feel while promoting peace and love. And they are most chill and nothing bothers them. I think that's a much better definition.
Yeah, that's pretty close. I wouldn't say nothing bothers
No.
me, but, I'm still human.
No. So then doing a little bit more research, what else makes somebody a modern day hippie? You want peace. I think that's ultimately the main goal between 1960s hippies and modern day hippies is that you just get to a point where you're like, I can't handle this with the war and the negativity and you don't want to see it anymore. You just want peace.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this, for example, this room, the rest of our house doesn't look like the studio.
No.
The studio, if you walked in, you'd be like, oh yeah,
Hippie shack.
hippie.
Yeah.
It sort of like reminds me of, I remember Scott Semple used to do this, like on his, I mentioned this the other day that I kind of wanted to do it, like on the dresser, just put like a scarf or something down and you have like incense and some crystals or whatever, a picture or something it is that kind of like a shrine.
Yeah, like my
for
office,
meditation.
I have that.
That's what this is to me. It's like it's a giant room shrine.
It is. It absolutely is. And it has that feeling. And
Yes.
everybody says that when they come over, that they walk in here and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
the feeling. You get that calm because the lighting is dim, which is why
Right.
sometimes I'm like, I can't see what I'm reading.
I'm sure everybody says it, like when Tom's trying to read the lyrics.
Yeah.
Get
exactly.
a flashlight, man.
At least it's just you guys. I'm on the podcast. I really can read. I just, between not having good vision.
I'll get you a miner's helmet.
Oh, yeah.
The light.
That'd be great. Okay, what else? Let's see. You have a simple wardrobe and love vintage. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Natural hair. That's something that has changed for me is that I used to dye my hair all the time. And as I got deeper into this, I decided I didn't want to deal with the chemicals.
Right.
And my hair is just thin and does what it wants. But
Right.
yeah, I think
There's a lot of
you
hippies that dye
yeah.
their hair, though.
Well, yeah, and I think that really the whole concept of it is that, love me for who I am, not for what I look like, because another one on here was like natural makeup, not going overboard with the makeup.
Right.
Because you do that. It's like that natural feeling. You want to connect with the earth, kind of, and so all of these chemicals and things, it doesn't connect you to the earth. It pushes you farther away.
Right.
Really. Let's see. Love yoga and meditation.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has deep meaning. That's honestly one of my favorite things about this spiritual journey is that everything has deep meaning now. Even the things that didn't before are
Which
so
is
deep.
kind of like, it's sort of a different way of saying that this type of person is connected.
Yes.
Because to find deeper meaning in everything, you have to search for that connection.
Right.
Or seek it, want it, and it will come to you. But,
right. So one place that I was going with this episode is because you just kind of said it, is that it goes along kind of with the spirituality. I, my entire life, have been attracted, even before I knew I was psychic, to the psychic world. I was also attracted to hippies, bohemians, that kind of thing. I love the bohemian style. That's my favorite. If we could do our house like that, I would be
which is
so
pretty much what a lot
what
of
this room is, yeah. But, even more so.
Right.
All of these things that I have always been attracted to, all are coming together to make me who I am, and they all fit into the same category. Even when we get into the gypsy soul, it still all fits together. It's really kind of wild.
Yeah.
Because I always looked at them as really separate. Like, you don't see a lot of psychic hippies, or maybe you do, and we just don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny that to label it, like, it's weird that to label a person with a particular mindset like this with this type of word, because I look at like Native American Indians and I think, well, God, they're probably like the most ultimate hippie mindset, even though they were way before. It's not an insult to Native American Indians, but meaning that they were connected to the earth, they lived off the earth, it was all natural,
right.
And they had the utmost respect for it, and they saw the deeper meaning in everything.
I have way more respect for that culture now, going through all this and realizing that a lot of what they do is similar to what we do. It's just almost taken up a notch, or like, I don't know, on a different level, but like the rain dances and what do you call the huts that they go into, the sweat lodges or whatever. A lot of these rituals that they do, they're to bring peace to the earth or peace to the person. So they're just kind of looking for it in different ways. But yeah, it all fits into together. Yeah. Let's see. You accept others. That's a big one, because there's a lot of different kinds of people out there.
Yeah.
And it is really hard to accept some people. But I've gotten to the point where, I have, people that maybe aren't on the top of my list.
Right.
But I realize that they are the way they are for a reason.
Right.
And they can't maybe help the way they are or whatever.
Sure.
You start to look deeper at people.
Sure.
And realize that it's not just surface what you're seeing. You don't know their life, and then you start to accept people more.
Yeah, that's true. I think for the most part, I do. I don't go, oh, I couldn't live there because they have these kind of people.
No.
Or I couldn't live there because they have these kind of people. No, I just kind of, my mindset has, for the most part, been live and let live.
Absolutely. I think that that's the best way. Everybody has their own beliefs and their own cultures or whatever, and this is the way we believe. And while we would love to bring people in to help them see what we see, we're not pushing them on it, because we realize that everybody has their own beliefs. It's just how it goes. It's what makes us different.
Yeah, I don't agree with everybody.
No, not at all.
If we could practice that, and I've seen that meme come up a lot recently on Facebook, is if we could get back to learning how to agree to disagree.
Yes.
And just leave it at that.
Yes. There's no reason, my life, our life is our life. And somebody that may not accept it, why do they have a chance to interject into our lives? And that's something that works the other way as well. And that's something that the spiritual awakening came for me too, is that who am I to tell somebody else how to live? Even if they are, not a really great person, or they don't, whatever, I still have no right to tell them how they can or can't live their life. Just like you have no right to tell me. And that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
But people don't see it that way. They want to tell you how to live your life, but they don't want you to be able to tell them how to live their life.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because in the end, you're your own judge and jury. So you'll be judging solely yourself.
That,
you know what I mean?
yes.
But we spend so much time wanting to judge everybody else here and now, not knowing, or some of us don't know, that that's what's going to happen.
It's yeah. It's kind of wild, actually. That's another thing that's kind of happened for me is like when, you judge other people, now looking at the fact that when I get to the other side, I know that the only person judging me is me. I see things a lot differently because I don't want to get to the other side and have to judge any more of my life any harshly because I've done plenty of things in the first 40 years. I don't want to have to do it anymore. Yeah. So for me, I'm only judging myself because I know when I judge others that that's just something else that I'm on the other side I'm going to have to deal with and look at.
Yeah, I agree. I'd like to cut the review process down so I can get to the fun part, or not that it's not fun, but you know what I mean? Like
yes.
The stuff that I want to do, the helping and the working and seeing what heaven is,
Yes. I think about that a lot. I think about like things that I've done in the past, trying to we can't undo what you've done.
No.
But trying to make right, trying to make restitution, good karma, putting good out. Yeah. So that hopefully it's not as bad, Hopefully I've learned my lesson here. I can say I did wrong. Because I think one of the problems we have is that people don't want to admit that they were wrong, that they did something wrong. No. Or they want to say, well, yeah, I was wrong, but somebody else made me do this or whatever. No, you have to take responsibility for yourself. Right. That's a big step in being able to accept others is when you know.
Yeah, it's about accountability.
It is, yeah.
If we have to be accountable for our own actions first before we start judging and pointing fingers at anybody.
That's exactly right.
So, and even if you've done nothing wrong to somebody and they've wronged you, you can waste all the energy and time you want on judging them.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's not your say. They're going to do it themselves.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
So.
Yep. Let's see. What else is on my list? You love animals. I think that's, once you realize that a soul is a soul, absolutely.
Yeah, I look at them way different than I used to when I was young.
Yeah. You love to be outside. And there is a reason for that. Mm-hmm. Hippies I feel like they got a bad name because they did like to spend a lot of time outside and that maybe people looked at it as like, they were homeless or whatever. Right. And that's not it. When you connect to the earth, you feel something
There's
even
a healing
stronger.
there. Mm-hmm. And I think that these people realize that.
Absolutely.
Just like many civilizations, they were bringing something maybe to us as a society that seemed primitive, but it really wasn't. It was again the society trying to break through this thing that we're trying to break through now.
Right.
And I think this time it's going to be successful. It's going to take a while, but it's not going to burn out like just a summer of love.
Right.
That was a great time, and I wish I could have been there. But this, once it gets going, is not going to just be a season. It's going to be an eternity.
Yes.
But this mindset will start to, not meaning everybody in the world is going to be a hippie, but that type of people is that 1%.
Yes, absolutely.
That it takes to shift the consciousness.
Doesn't take much.
No.
At all. And really this time, this pandemic has given us a time to kind of reconnect with that a little bit, I feel. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of reasons why this happened. I'm not going to get into all of the reasons why I feel that it happened, but one of them I feel is because people have lost touch with nature and with reality. They're so busy on their phones and, kids playing video games that we needed to get bored with that. Yeah. And to say, I want to go outside. I want to get some sunlight and reconnect. And it's healthy for us to do that. If everybody would just go into nature for like a half hour a day, that would probably really help. Mm-hmm. You can't sit there and think about your problems. You have to focus on nature.
Right.
But that's a meditation and it'll help you.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. Any chance.
Yep.
You can get, do it.
You go organic. This has been a huge change for me. Right. I buy organic fruit. We don't use pesticides around the house anymore. What we're using for bug control is natural.
Right.
Everything I felt like I don't want it in my body. I just, it's healthier to not. And you realize that you feel better when you don't have all that junk.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
Yeah. I haven't been eating so well since this happened and how my headaches have been like tenfold.
Yeah.
Yeah. probably because I'm not taking care of myself. But going organic helps. Peace and love. Yep, that's our motto.
I think it's probably one of the most important, if not the most important.
It is. I think so too.
Of all.
Yeah.
And that goes for our own race, and that goes for any race that we will ever meet.
Yep.
Hopefully, that we have to come from that mindset.
If we could all just think about things before we like say them and think about them in a peaceful, loving way. And if you can't say something nice, like your mom said, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all.
And it has a lot of value. I hated that statement.
I know, me too.
But, they get old and you see the wisdom in it and you realize, what they're saying is because you're just putting out negative energy. And negative energy is resounding.
Yep.
It's going to just... It goes and goes and goes and goes. And if it's on a huge scale and a mass proportion of people, it's reverberating off this planet. They can feel our negativity.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So the minute we start changing that and turning it positive, they're going to feel our positivity.
Absolutely.
And then there's no stopping it. Then the connection will be made.
Yep. Absolutely. Peace and love.
Yep.
The last one on my list is that you love to move your body and express yourself through the arts.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had talked about gypsy soul and what is the difference between a hippie and a gypsy soul. Okay. So I took this quiz, like this BuzzFeed quiz, and it said that 95% I'm a gypsy soul. I got like one question that wasn't on. I'm like, okay, well, I never even thought about this. Well, what is this? So a hippie desires peace while a gypsy desires freedom.
Okay.
I desire both.
Yeah.
Like, gypsies don't want to work for anybody else. Hello? My whole life, I don't want to work for anybody else. They get bored if they stay in one place too long. I'm so ready to move.
Right.
My whole life, it's just like, let's move somewhere else, Yeah, it makes sense. There's a lot of things.
But when I look at that, I go, whoa, that my first thought is the gypsy, it's almost like, God, how do I want to say this? Peace is the ultimate freedom.
Right.
So you are seeking that even as a hippie.
Yes.
Where maybe the gypsy's more involved in the world and the hippie's more kind of removed from that and more connected to a deeper...
Yeah, I think that's probably more a deeper connection. And there's also the negatives that people think of when they come to gypsies. I hear that term used a lot for people that move around.
Thieves.
Right. There's people that go to the different shopping centers here.
Scam artists.
They're total scam artists and people call them gypsies. I don't think it's fair to say that. But this is a quote that I like. This is a quote by Victoria Erickson. It's, a gypsy soul isn't lost and looking. A gypsy soul is one who loves movement and finding the pulse in nature and flight as a metaphor. One who thinks everything is music. One who knows and holds an inward and therefore outwardly contagious kind of freedom.
Yeah.
I think that explains it pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So there are differences. And there were things that I read that said, that you could say that a gypsy, they do what they have to do to get by, like what we were saying. There was a show that I loved many years ago with, what was his name? Eddie Izzard, where him and his family were traveling gypsies. And the whole premise of this was that he stole a dead person's identity and moved into their house and took their job because it was a new job. It was like this whole thing that made gypsies look like they were bad.
What was this?
I can't remember the name of the Riches. That's what it was called.
Okay.
Eddie Izzard. Yeah. I don't know if they have it on any of the like Amazon Video or anything, but it was a good show. But it does portray gypsies as being negative.
Yeah. I mean, who isn't going to do what they need to do to survive? I mean, that's unfair to say gypsies are the only one that do that.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then, so I wrote down here, what are some of the hippie stereotypes? Because there are a lot of those too, just like there's gypsy.
Hitchhikers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. One of them is that hippies are dirty. probably because a lot of hippie, well, I can't say a lot, but some hippies do like the dreadlocks, and some people might look at that as dirty.
Right.
But there were like a couple things that I read where it says one of the reasons people don't like hippies is because they don't shower often. What? Who says that?
Or, like some females may not want to like shave their underarms or
it
even
did
leg
get into
hair.
shaving, yeah. It did get into shaving. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, we ain't going there.
No, that they live on the streets, and that's just silly.
No.
A whole group of people isn't just going to live on the streets.
Right.
That they're druggies. Again, coming back to that.
Right. Stereotype.
Right. These are stereotypes, yep. And that hippies carry more disease. Why?
Well, if you're not clean, and that's very possible.
But again, why is a hippie not clean? I don't know.
There's a lot of people that aren't clean.
Right. You don't have to be a hippie to not be clean and carry disease.
What's the difference between that and like a homeless person?
Right.
At that point.
Right.
As far as cleanliness.
Right. So let's see. Something else that I wrote down here is people that don't understand peace and love can't understand the hippie lifestyle, so they label it. And it's very true, because a lot of the things that we're talking about, there might be people listening, or, probably the majority of people that would hear this and think it's not that easy. It's not, they don't know what they're talking about. And so they just put labels on it. You know what I mean? It's
right.
You can't understand something that you can't connect to.
No.
Another thing that people don't necessarily like about hippies is that they reject some of the core elements of American society. And to me, that's one of the things that makes hippies great, I think. Okay,
what is the core elements?
Well, materialism, basically. Money. Money is the root of all evil.
Yeah, but a hippie still needs money to survive. They just don't...
They don't focus on the material, for the most part.
A lot of, like, a home to fill with stuff.
Well, not necessarily.
Not necessarily, I shouldn't say that. But maybe require less.
Yes, minimalist. Yeah, absolutely. And that's something that's changed with me, too, is that I don't want all the stuff.
Right.
You do. You just get to a point where you just want to live a simple life.
Right.
It just comes easier. I think just making life easy. Religion. Religion is a huge thing, I think, because you realize that organized religion does more bad to people than it does good, really, in my opinion. It seems to be... Yeah, as time goes on and more people come forward, it seems to kind of be that way. Yeah. But that's my personal opinion. Yep. Hippies reject government sometimes. Yeah. Because again, that goes back to war, which is another thing that, right. You can't have peace and love war. Well, that's when you were saying that these, we don't, or this type of person doesn't fall under the typical American, well, I don't know what the word you said, but our society. Right, exactly, yeah. And so I'm thinking, what, like, because they don't, they're not like gun wielding. Right. Is that, I think they don't support war. I think that what it is that they're the opposite of the people that do support war. Right. I think there's more people in the middle that are just like, whatever. Right. They don't necessarily like it. I think they were kind of one of the, if not the first generation to kind of step forward and say, enough of this. You guys are using this as a money-making machine. Yeah. It's not about interests or threats that often we're making up, and we can show that time and time and again, that we make up stories to create scenarios and situations so we can get the war machine moving and get economy going. Right. Well, if we'd stop relying on war and all this other stuff and focus our attention on what would benefit society for the long run forever and never have to raise another gun at each other. Right. We're just wasting time. Right. Exactly. One of the things that I read when I was looking this stuff up is that it's not like with hippies that we reject what's going on. It's that we know that whatever's happening is happening for a reason. Mm-hmm. Like with this coronavirus, I'm very calm. I know that it's not going to be great. I know our economy is going to really suffer, and I'm hoping there's not going to be a second wave. Right. Me too. But I also know that whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. And so I can't sit here and worry about it.
Right.
And that comes with the peace part. And that probably also comes with the connection to the other side, because you know that when you die, it's not game over. It's just moving on. It changes your perspective on things.
It's just end of that chapter.
Right. So it kind of, like you were saying before, it fits together. All of these different entities, they fit together into one little pretty package of spirituality. It's weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
I did ask our listeners, do you consider yourself to be a hippie? And only 6 people said yes.
Oh,
it was like a
man.
fifth of the people, yeah. But you know what? That's okay.
I know.
Yeah, because not everybody has their thing.
Right.
And some people won't understand that lifestyle. Some people don't. Just knowing that we're spiritual people and I'm a medium, some people don't understand that by itself. And then you add a hippie aspect on it. And
Right.
you know what, though? I don't care. And to anybody that lives that kind of hippie lifestyle or whatever lifestyle you're living, as long as you're not hurting yourself or somebody else, who cares what other people think?
Exactly.
You be you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I be me.
You be you. All I got.
You be you, I be I.
Yeah. And then if you mind your own business, everybody's happy, right?
That reminds me, my mom told me that was one of her favorite license plates she ever saw was IBI, UBU.
That's a good one, actually. I mean, it does make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Don't worry yourself with me. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's my hippie episode.
Well,
fun.
that was a good one. I mean, I think somewhere in my life, I've always been one.
Me too.
I have. Have I outwardly portrayed it in all periods of my life? No. But I have, I think, embraced it internally.
Yeah.
I'm a gentle soul. I'm not into war and things like that.
Right.
I embrace the musics, the arts. I love to feel the energy of those things. I love to feel the energy of Mother Nature outside.
Right.
And the more that I've delved into this mentality and this awakening, I can feel the energy of these things outside.
Right.
I can now get to places that, did take certain drugs to get to sometimes. Now I don't have that.
Right.
I can find it because I realize it's true. It just took that.
Yeah.
Whoa, that opened an interesting door. And now coming through this door and realizing, oh, it's the same door. It's just, it goes both ways.
It is a total trip, isn't it? You're a product of your environment. And so if you're in a relationship that's bad, how can you really be like hippie and peace and love if you're unhappy in that part of your life? You have to find a balance in your life in order to really embrace that and accept it. And so I think that's why at this point in our lives we are.
Yeah.
But the other thing is that it is rejected by some people. And as a kid, I always felt that connection to the Grateful Dead, to Pink Floyd, but people made me feel like I was weird for that. And you want to be normal when you're a kid. You don't want to be weird. I loved, the long skirts and, like I said, all the bohemian stuff, but people treat you differently.
Right.
And I wish that I would have just been me and not let society make me somebody else for 20 years or however long, because now I'm starting to figure out who I am. Right. And I wish I would have had longer, I mean, I'll still have a long time, but it's like, wow, it would have been nice to be
once something
me.
like that touches you and moves you, you have immediate respect for it.
Absolutely.
Even if you never met these people or seen their concert or anything, once it's moved you, you have respect. Just like anything in your life that would affect you in a positive way, you would have respect for it.
It does. It hits you in a different way too. Like Pink Floyd, I've always loved them, but as an adult, it hits me harder. And I challenge anybody to go listen to Comfortably Numb with your headphones in and turn it up and not connect to that song. You have to let go of what's going on in your mind. But the music in that song is so connecting. And most of their music takes you to a different place. And that's the beauty of music.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I was thinking about that too, because it's not an accident that, at this time in my life, the band is, has the word gypsy in it.
Yeah.
It just all fits perfectly,
It all fits.
And it has a deeper meaning.
It does.
I can see it. I can feel it, and I wish that sometimes I did know how things were going to pan out, but then a lot of times I don't because, that's part of the excitement of the journey.
It is, yeah. And that's the part that gets you because, I've been saying all along that I was going to quit pet sitting.
Right.
And that was coming and it's coming, but
Right.
For a pandemic to be the final deciding factor, didn't see coming.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? I'm glad that I didn't see that. Like you're saying, sometimes it's just better not to know because what would I have done with that information? And that's why they don't tell me certain things.
Right.
Is if I would have known there was a pandemic coming, chances are the way I would have gotten it was with words of like illness and showing me sick people and different visions like that. And so probably would have freaked me out.
Right.
It was just better to let it happen the way that it did because nothing happened that affected me negatively.
Right.
Like, I lost a job, but it was positive, so they have to let things unfold like that.
Yeah.
You can't know everything.
No,
Absolutely.
it would be a train wreck if people did.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would be really bad.
It would. Yeah. There's a reason why we don't. And even with psychics that we're not told everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, like I said, it would be nice sometimes, but then where does the faith and the belief come in?
Right.
And I would still believe that, even if, God forbid, I hope not, but if I got corona tomorrow and passed away, I'm still going to be okay.
Right. Exactly.
See what I mean? Because I'm not really, I'm not dying.
Right.
I'm not gone forever. I just make that transition to the new chapter and then something new starting over.
Right. They tend to show, like, for these types of things, me as a psychic, they don't show me the outcome. They show me some of the steps that are going to be taken to get there. Do you know what I mean? So, like, for me, I knew how the exit of pet sitting was going to go. We had talked about that. I also knew that there was going to be a strange coincidence that I started my company in March 2000, and my last pet sit officially was March 2020. I pet sat for exactly 20 years. And I had a feeling that was going to happen. And the beginning of March, I was like, well, obviously that's not going to happen because how am I going to be done with pet sitting here in a couple weeks? Right. Pandemic. But it was okay. It was a good slap. It was fine so far,
That's funny.
But that's how things come to me. I'm not shown the pandemic's going to do this and, this is where you're going to go from here. I'm just shown steps of this is how it's going to progress and how you know that you're on the right track.
Right.
So just so people know.
Cool.
I don't know why I went off on that, but so that's how it
you know.
works. Yeah.
Food
We
for
had
thought.
time.
Yeah, we
to
did.
fill.
Well, cool. That was good.
Yeah. Hippies.
Bravo.
Woo-hoo.
Yep. If you know it.
Clap those hands.
Yeah. Well, before we say adios to all our friends and our hippie friends and whatnot, do you want to share your information?
Yes, you can find everything you need to know on my website at SamanthaJonesPsychicMedium.com. I've been getting a lot more requests through my page, through my website page for readings. So you can go there. I should remind people, you can go there and send me a message that you want a reading. It's that easy.
Boom.
Yeah.
Done. Good job.
And you, sir.
djonesartcollection.com for my art on the web and for Instagram and Facebook at djonesartcollection. gypsybrown.com for the music, and for Instagram it's at gypsybrownmusic, and for Facebook is gypsy Brown Band. I never want to say the at on that one. But we just had our first rehearsal in 2 months last night. And fabulous job, guys, if you're listening, for not having a rehearsal together in 2 months. It was. I was telling Samantha that I felt like I plugged my cord into the socket, the recharging socket, and felt so good. And it just kind of confirmed, like, wow, there's something really awesome, magical going on here, because to step away from this and be away from each other this long and to come in and almost feel like no time had passed,
Told you.
was a wow. I was really floored. So, and we start recording next week.
Yay!
So we're excited. So keep your eyes and ears peeled. We're going to be out there at some point.
Yeah.
But if not, we're going to be sharing music if we can't be out there.
Well, yeah.
So, but give us a little time and we're working on it.
Yay.
But that's all I got.
Great.
Well, we appreciate everybody listening in.
That we do.
We hope you got something out of it. I did.
I did too.
you know,
Yeah.
it's
Knowledge.
all groovy.
Yep.
And we hope you guys have a great week. And until next week,
Peace and love.